Okay, here we go. Start of another set of videos, hopefully. So, right, what we got? Just brought this as is out the van. Dropped off to me yesterday, and XT500 or XT540, I believe. So, well, I was going to say suspected big end failure. It's definitely a big end failure. So, yeah, not been stripped by me, just literally been given it as is. So if we have a look at a couple of the bits on this, it's used in competition, I believe. Bit of flat tracking, bit of sideways stuff, as they say. So yeah, on face it, different retainers in here on the valves. We've got some different retainers on this one. I have to say I'm not keen on this stuff. I mean, luckily, I hate this stuff, but luckily, looking at the oil strainer, which I'll come to in a minute, it's not full of this stuff in the oil strainer. But anyway, that's by the by for the minute. So what we've got is 90mm piston. And we can just see where the edge of the piston has just been, with the failure in the big end, the roller bearings, so it's obviously it's come up higher each time at the end of the stroke, with no rollers in the rod, or very few rollers left in the rod. So it's actually come up and clouted the head, as you can see the edge around the piston there. So I didn't take the rings off this. The chap who brought it to me took the rings off, but I don't. There's enough metal there to have not closed. I'm not often in a situation like this. You can actually get the aluminium closing up onto the ring land, and it nips the ring. But they obviously came out okay, and I'm not sure whose it is. Interestingly, you can see the debris that's been flying around inside it as it's been ping, 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 hitting the underneath of the piston as it's been failing. You actually see dints on the side of the piston here where the big end rollers failing have started to come out from the rod. So yeah, there we go. Come back to that in a second, because I mean, he said I hope that can be saved, but it's got a heavy scoring on the thrust side, both sides to be fair. I mean, real heavy scoring. You can see that one there, it's actually had a bit of debris between the cylinder wall there, and it's actually dragged it down. So anyway, personally, I don't, just by looking at that, I don't think that's salvageable, but we will measure it in a minute. So I don't think that's salvageable. I haven't got the bore measuring stuff out yet. It's literally just come out of the van as we speak. So what I'm going to do, just make a bit more room each, and so obviously we've just got the rings in gudgeon pin. In fact, gudgeon pin. Do you know what? That's been warm. That's been warm as well, that. Yeah, I wonder if we've got an oiling issue going on in this motor. Now, interestingly, it has had a dry sump conversion. It been changed to wet sump. So we'll look at that in a minute, but that should be interesting to take to bits and exactly how they do it. I'm not saying that's what's caused this, by no way, shape, or form am I saying that's what's caused it. It could just be worn out, you know. But anyway, it's obviously works on. It's obviously been played hard with, you know, but bit of heat in the gudgeon pin there. Also, that side corresponds. If we look at the gudgeon pin, I'll come closer to that in a minute, and we'll have a look at that. Right, I'm just going to put this stuff back here for a minute, give it a bit of room to swing the cartons around. All we've got in here: clutch, cylinder nuts. Looks like kickstarter's actually been stripped down. Clutch basket looks like it's been banded, unless the later ones came banded. I'm not sure. I'm not on an rack, you know, on what's what. Oil pump drive, So there we go with that stuff. So just let me move that out of the way a second. Steel head gasket, which we're going to need another one at a 90mm bore. So let me put that there. Give us a little bit of room. I'm just going to stick that in there for the minute. Yeah, strainer I was talking about. So let me make sure you can see what you're seeing. Strainer I was talking about. There's the big end. There it all is. All parts of the rollers in the little sump. So I'll wash that out in some petrol, and we'll actually have it in some blue roll, and we'll actually have a look at what's in there. But I think we know. To me, the rollers are flattened. So the rollers, if you look at that in there, if you can pick them out, the rollers have actually flattened and started to skid around the big end. Immense heat, starting to get the heat build up. So they've all picked them out, they've actually flattened. Okay, so anyway, there's, I'm just going to put that in there. I mean, we know obviously know where stuff goes. Shift this tank. This tank, I'm trying to get paint matches for that, which I'm nearly there with it, but it seems to get moved from pillar to post, that tank, at the minute. Okay, on the face of it, the followers, etc., decompressor, rev counter's been removed. So yeah, nothing missing here, I don't think, other than just a personal. It's nothing, you know. I just hate the stuff, silicon. Absolutely hate the stuff. Keep it in the bathrooms. You know, look at this. Anyway, right, camshaft is supposed to be, I'm told, a high lift or more duration or camshaft in it. I'm not quite sure whose it is. Kedo, is it Kedo? Not quite sure. Forgive me on that. I haven't got it. It did tell me I haven't got it. And obviously verniered, so you've got a choice of different positions and different cam timing. We need to look into that. So that's that side of it. Nothing else really to sort of comment on there. Flat O-rings in the engine there. Right. All this wants going in parts, washing, and yeah, we'll come back to head gasket in a minute. So this is, like I say, exactly how it came. So let's get that out of there. Right, bear with me. Oh, dear God. Right. Yeah, interestingly, we have, like the TZ ignitions we used to run, Electrex, different one to the previous engine that's got the charging and lighting side to it, should I say. Right, let's just have a quick look at this. Put the cylinder there for a second while we evaluate this and what's happening. Right, bottom end, let's have a look at it, what we're seeing. Let me see what you're seeing. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, so what's changed? Anything visible to the, I'm trying to pick up an actual, so we've got the oil pump here. The scoop for the gearbox that scoops it off the primary drive there and sends it down here onto the top of the gears is there. All sort of, that doesn't look to have changed. Pick up here from the sump, pick up into the pump, out of the pump, and looking at where it'll become apparent, as I'm sure it will when we strip it down, but on the face of it, don't jump out at me what's actually changed in there yet. But anyway, that bearing should have a circlip, a retainer and a circlip on there, unless that's been taken off into bits. I don't know, like I said, I didn't strip it. So the rotation of the main bearing seems okay, personally. I wouldn't be running them main bearings after that failure. The debris of the metal that's in here has been in there as well. I mean, there's bits of metal all in there. So let's have a look. Just remove that for a second. Right, are we ready? Yeah, plenty of up and down, and absolutely. Oof. Yeah, definitely wants to roll. It'll be interesting to see that when it comes out. So back to our little end. If we actually look, I don't know, is it just old, is it just, but you know when somewhere can get like running a little bit hotter and it obviously it darkens off, does that correspond with that? Who knows? What does that tell you? Well, who knows? You know, to me it looks like pretty worked pretty hard. We've got a bit of a dink chip out the keyway there, on the end of the crank there. Yeah, so not sure what's going on with these seals, to be honest. Is that in? Is that home? Should it be a bit? Wants to be quite proud of the case as that seal, but anyway. Right, okay, what's happened, do we think? What's happened to this? Do you know, it could just be wear, just be worn out. It could be an oiling issue, it could be. I do have a theory with well, it was the way an oil seal's installed in the outer cover. But I'm not getting into it, I just have my own opinion of what I think's right, and often sometimes these engines I see and it's installed differently the way I would install it. But anyway, I'm not, you know, I have an opinion on just my theory on it, that's all. But anyway, new conrod needed, so this needs pulling apart. We need to separate the cases, and the end of that crank's been twatted at, excuse the expression, at some point. It's burned over that way. Never mind. Yeah, big end. Standard rod, I believe. But yeah, okay. Right. Quick look at the head. Let me just see if you're seeing that clearly. Right, a second. Right. Okay, cylinder head. By all accounts, this valve potentially could be bent. See where it's hit the head just here? It's potentially kissed the end of the valve. Now these are big valves in here, so but it's actually started to try and bury the piston into the head. So there's a bit of work to do here to get this head kind of back, and bit of a ridge there. If we can pick the ridge up, is that picking the ridge up just there? Yeah, so bit of work done to it, but so obviously we're going to want, you put stem seals in while we're in there, that sort of thing, but we need to be looking at that valve. We may need another valve. It may just be this stuff, I hate this stuff. It may just be the seat needs a bit of attention. So anyway, there's the head. I'm just going to put that in there while we do. Put that away in there for a minute. When you get that many kind of jobs, we've got four different jobs on the go at the minute in here, and I promised myself I wouldn't do that, so I'm not starting this yet. I'm just giving you an insight in what we've found. Okay, yeah, interesting little, obviously with it being wet sumped, we need a filler plug. So there's the filler plug welded onto the case, and you can see the weld actually on the inside there. So there he is. Okay, I'm just put that there for a minute. Right, let's have a look. So we know we need big ends, we need a rod kit, big ends, mains. Right, immediately we know we need that shopping list. This, I did look last night, because it did come yesterday, and I did have a look last night, but this is a multi-layer. In fact, it looks like it's been leaking there to me. Tell me your thoughts on that. That looks like it's been leaking there. Yeah, it does, very much so. Anyway, multi-layer, what is it now, 90mm bore, multi-leaf gasket, as you can see. That is becoming a bit of a enigma, is that the word? At the minute I can't find one. So unless, because it's 3mm over standard, unless it's a metal standard gasket and the edge has been taken out, you know, to get it to, in fact, does that show any signs of that, or is that a, no, that looks machined to be I personally don't want to go down the road of trying to rope me out of standard, taking 1.5 off it, you know, 3mm off the diameter. I don't want to get into that either. So we need to be looking at where we can source one of them from. I think that's one of the first jobs actually for this, because that's going to slow us right down. Right, we come to the cylinder. Let's have a look. Get the camera positioned. Let's see what you're seeing. Okay, so just get it into view around there. Right, our piston. Had a bit of life, had some wear. Yeah, it has had some it has, hasn't it? I mean, is this your thoughts? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Or is this just wear and tear? First thing we've got to do, I suppose I could do a bore measurement of this while we're set up. In fact, I think I will. I'll end it in a minute after we've looked at the piston. Right, just bear with me while I get the book and let's have a look. What Yamaha? Can't remember, because I can't remember my name half the time these days. So let's have a look. Engine, clutch and gearbox. Let's have a look. Spec. Piston bore clearance, let's have a look. Just 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Bear with me. Should have had all this ready, I know. Right. Cylinder bar, blah 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 blah. Where are we? Hang on, you know, shopping find it when you want and you're on them. No, not in there. I showed it before on one of the other XTs we did. I've got it in my head what I think it is, but I'm not going to say it in case I'm wrong. Right, hang on, let me find it. Can I find that? Where's that? Wear limit, here we go. Last one. 0.1, limit 0.1 before you start moving to the different sizes. We're way over this anyway at 90. So, but anyway, 0.1 wear limit, cylinder bore clearance is 0.05 to 0.055, or in old money, 2 thou to 2.2 thou. Okay, and when she goes up to 4 thou, that's what I thought it was when I said, you know, when I said a minute ago that I thought I knew what it was, but I'm not going to say, that's what I thought it was. Right, okay. We've got two to 2.5 is the clearance we should be running. We're a little bit bigger. Let's give it, because she's a bit bigger, let's give it a little bit, let's say 3 thou. There's a formula for this, but let's just say 3 thou. And if our wear limit is, say, 4.5 thou, let's just cut it some slack. Okay, 3 thou. There we go. Right. Let's find the blades. Well, there's 2 that's immediately come out. Are we watching? Are we all, yeah. There's 2, okay. Down the thrust side, not down the gudgeon pin side, obviously. Most of the wear is in the backwards and forwards plane, okay. There's my 2 thou. 2.5, okay. Okay. 2 thou in the bore, holding it with it. You can see that he's in the bore. I think we're going to need to go up one. Right, let's have a look. Well, what did we say? Let's cut it some slack at 4. Cut it some slack at 4. Wear limit before rebore would be 4 thou. 4 thou. I think you get where I'm going with this. Let's have a look what we've got. 5 thou. 0.127. So we've got 5 thou. So we're over 5. I measured it this morning. Just have a look, see if I can find it, and I'm going to show you. Sorry, 10 thou. You can just force it through. When I say force, I don't mean, you know, get knee on job and all that, but there's 9 thou there. Which is 0.229 of a mil. 9 thou there, just get it in the right. Just above that little dark. 9 thou, okay? Snap on gauges, in it goes. What I'm saying there, as I've said before, is accuracy, okay? So we've got 9 thou there, and I can push it through. So I'm going to call it 9 thou. Bit of resistance there, but we're at 9 thou. We're way over. Way over. Right, that is consigned to... in fact, I've got the other... I have got the... So let me get... I mean, I can... This is in thou, in inches, though. A good friend of mine gave me this. The wizard that is Mr. Webster. Here we go. Right, if we work this out, it's 3.530. Off camera, I'm going to work that out, but we'll get the metric one. 3.350. Now that should be as close to 90 mil, the end of that skirt should be as close to 90 mil, about 89.93 I think it is, yeah, in that ballpark. Then I'm going to get the other, I'm going to get set up for the bore, we're going to do a bore measurement, I can't quite, it's been that many years, I can't quite put my hand on the vernier at the minute, so it doesn't matter. We'll set up for a bore measurement and we'll see whether we're in spec cylinder wise, which we'll do next. See whether the cylinder's okay on the face of it. You can still just see honing, but you can see where rings have come down to, but you can see honing. Now, there is some scoring there. Is it picking up in the light? I don't think it's anything... Well, that certainly isn't anything bad at the minute. It depends where you draw the line. I mean, you know, there's a bit of picking up going on there. It really has tried to... I mean, if that's picking that up... Is that picking that up? Let me see what... Yeah, I wasn't even in there. Right, let's try it again. There's a few little down that side in there. Okay, spin it round. You can still see honing. And down the thrust sides here, you can see the marks in the thrust side. So as far as the top goes, okay, we don't have a lip where, you know, where the rings have come up to. So cylinder wear, I'm hoping, as per the previous XT, cylinder wear I'm hoping is going to keep us within spec. We just need to change the piston. So let's see, because if it is, I think this is something I'm going to have to need to order straight away as well, because I think this is going to slow us down as well. Obviously the crank's got to come out. When we left the Isle, I had to give so much away. My press now, the one I use, my little press wouldn't even undertake doing that. I used to do the 2-stroke cranks. Like I say, this is like half the friggin' Scania crank that's in here. So actually, compared to my Guzzi, it's a baby. But anyway, but you know, pressing this apart, it's got a massive big crank pin in it, big end pin, and you know, so I'm going to send this. I'm going to farm this out over this and send that off. So ordering wise, at the minute we know, oh, dear me, we know we need a rod kit, gaskets, blah blah blah, oil seals. I'm going to put a full set of oil seals. I'm messing around with gasket is a bit of an enigma. Anyway, muttering on, I'm going to get the bore gauge set up and we'll do a bore gauge measurement on this, and let's see where we're at. Catch it in a minute.